Cameroon based on their performance in the Cameroon Baccalaureate Office (OBC) exams has been released. The report from the 2020 back session ranks Government Bilingual High School Bepanda in Douala as the best in the category of general public secondary education in Cameroon, with a success rate of 79.84% in the exams. GBHS Bepanda tops the list out of the 627 classified high schools. The principal of the school, Eboa Thama, believes that the ranking is well deserved due to the discipline implemented and practiced by the students. We have her in the following excerpt as she expresses her desire to do even better. Let's listen.
All of us are doing well to be at that level, but I cannot say it's quite a tradition for our school, but we are moving through that challenge, which can always put our school in that level. So we are the first, maybe not the best, but for the moment we are the first. Our school is in a particular neighborhood, and that neighborhood, at the only pronunciation of the name, can give a bad impression. But I can tell you that our students, which are especially students living in this neighborhood, they know one thing. When they left their house, when they enter the school, they know what they want. They know why they come for. And inside the school, we have something that is particular, something that makes us be different. It's in our motto. The motto of our school is discipline, hard work, cleanliness. And every student in this school knows that to be part of this school, to remain a student of this school, he should respect the internal rule. And we are very, very strict on that. So I think with that discipline, and we are also trying to be very closer to our students, very closer to the parents. That's help us to have the result that we have today. It's not the first time, but this time is particular because we have a challenge. We have a challenge. Everybody knows that our school is excellent, but we have another challenge, is to become a reference. And I hope by doing so, we may reach that level.
That was Eboa Thama, the principal of GBHS Bepanda. And still in the education page, the United Nations Children Emergency Fund has donated a number of tablets to Cameroon's Ministry of Secondary Education. This is meant to assist the government as well as the ministry in the distance learning process, which was initiated by Minister Pauline Nalova-Lyonga with the outbreak of coronavirus over a year ago. The reception ceremony took place at the Distance Learning Production Center in Yaoundé. Let's now listen to the minister, who expresses the ministry as well as the country's gratitude to the donor.
I cannot forget thanking UNESCO, because they were like the first people who pushed us to do this. And then come UNICEF. UNICEF is there, interested in what is happening to primary education and secondary education. When you have that kind of motivation and you have those kind of partners, and I have the vision, that's the fuel that I need. I have the fuel, and so we must drive the car. Those that we brought today for the show, we had to show you people that they can access the internet with or without your help. And that is why you could see them actually getting to the tablets and getting to the websites that we want them to get to. The children know it.
Over in the health page, health professionals have reassured Cameroonians that there is no harm in taking vaccines against coronavirus. The reassurance was given during a symposium on the topic vaccination hesitation that was at the Yaoundé 1 University. Ate Bonaventure reports that it is also in commemoration of the International Immunization Week, which runs right up to the 30th of this month. His report.
This symposium on vaccination hesitation at the Amphi 300 of the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences is part of week-long activities to sensitize on the importance of vaccination, especially within the context of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now we have to get the right information to the population. It's because we need effective communication of the correct information to the population at all levels, right down to the district, the communities, the rural areas.
Results and research findings on sociological and anthropological perception of vaccines by different social groups shows that the literate population is more reticent to vaccines than the under-scholarized.
And let the people really know the truth about it, that the vaccine is there to help us. COVID is real, COVID is there, our people are dying, and we have to make sure that too many people, like the government has said, we get vaccinated, so we don't lose so many people again.
Students were opportune to ask questions and receive clarifications. The event is taking place under the auspices of the World Health Organization.
The International Immunization Week is still ongoing and being observed all over the world, and Cameroon is inclusive. The week was launched on the 24th of April to run till the 30th in respect of annual occurrence on the last week of the month of April. Considering that a week-long period is meant for promoting the use of vaccines to protect people of all ages from disease, the International Vaccination Center of Douala is carrying out a door-to-door sensitization on the importance of vaccination, as well as advice and counseling on the issue, added to testing and vaccination. Take note that every Douala city dweller aged 2 and above can benefit from the mentioned services at a subsidized cost. We have a personnel of the International Vaccination Center of Douala in the following excerpt. Tell us more.
The International Immunization Center of Douala Bonanjo, we have launched a campaign, a week campaign for immunization of everybody. The population, as from 2 years, we vaccinate everybody here, old, young, as from to the age we need here is 2 years. We protect people against several illnesses, yellow fever, meningitis, typhoid, dysentery, cholera, many illnesses. But most of time people think that we only protect people who are traveling abroad. No, that is not the question. The International Immunization Center is to protect the population against those illnesses I've mentioned. I mean, this week we are doing a promotional campaign for some vaccine, like vaccine against meningitis. The normal price is 31,000, but during this campaign, we are giving it out for 28,000. And hepatitis, the screening test normally is 5,000 for each, hepatitis B and hepatitis C. But during this campaign, we are doing it for 5,000, the two. That means 2,500 for each. We are calling all the population of Douala to come and protect themselves here, international vaccination. It is our duty, our daily work.
On to this societal news story now. Mange Venasus takes us to Nkolmitak, that is a neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision, where a third-degree chief who had been on a 3-month suspension met with resistance as he was being reinstated into his function. The situation comes to aggravate an already bad security situation in this neighborhood, as we get from the following report.
Nkolmitak, a neighborhood in Douala 2 subdivision, the inhabitants are divided over who should be the quarter head. The incident began when a third-degree quarter head, Chunke Pierre, was suspended by the senior divisional officer for Furi division for a period of 3 months. This was to permit him handle a number of complaints deposited against him at the divisional officer's office in Douala 2 subdivision, such as illegal sales of land and houses. With that, an interim quarter head took over. At the end of the suspension period that extended from 3 to 10 months, with the approval of the senior divisional officer for Vuri division, the suspension was lifted, and the quarter head, on assuming his post, met resistance from a portion of the quarter who no longer wanted him in that post. The situation degenerated to an uprising. Our reporters contacted the divisional officer for Douala 2 subdivision, Dr. Didier Bidia, who affirmed that the quarter head, Chunke Pierre, who was on suspension, has been authorized to go back to his post, as there were proofs that he has changed working for peace in his neighborhood. The divisional officer indicated that it is the Minister of Territorial Administration who has the competence to terminate the mandate of third-degree chiefs in the country and not the population. He indicated that the interim quarter head would appear to have loved to remain in his post, but forgetting that he was never appointed quarter head. The divisional officer insisted that Mr. Chunke Pierre was only suspended and not sacked. Hopes are that peace should reign in Nkolmitak, as it is a locality noted for violence.
We round up stories in Cameroon with obituary, as the death of Joseph Pokosi Doumbé, who was the former government delegate to the Douala City Council, has died this Tuesday. The 88-year-old died this day from an illness, according to reports. The former pharmacist was equally chairman of the board of directors of Aéroport du Cameroun, ADC, until his death on Tuesday. Pokosi Doumbé leaves behind a wife and 9 children who are now orphans. And we conclude news in Cameroon. We conclude the news with stories out of Cameroon, notably beginning in Chad, where at least 5 people have been killed in protest in the capital, N'Djamena, as the people were protesting against the junta that took power following the death of the country's late president, Idriss Déby Itno. And out of the African continent, the European Parliament has voted to ratify the post-Brexit deal, which the United Kingdom lawmakers backed the vote by 660 votes to 5 and 32 abstentions. Details of these stories with Rogea Tububa.
At least 5 people have been killed in a sporadic protest in N'Djamena and southern Chad against the junta that took power after the death of veteran leader Idriss Déby Itno a week ago. According to the capital's prosecutor, 4 people died in N'Djamena, including a woman killed by the demonstrators. The regime's new strongman, General Muhammad Idriss Déby, promised in a televised speech broadcast to organize an inclusive national dialogue during an 18-month transition period. As his father, who ruled for 3 decades with an iron fist, did systematically, Muhammad, who took the head of a military council of transition, had banned the demonstrations on Tuesday. The opposition and civil society, who denounced an institutional coup to power, had called for these rallies. According to the local governor, at least 12 Chadian soldiers were killed in an attack by jihadists on an army position in the Lake Chad region in the west of the country. The European Parliament has voted overwhelmingly to ratify the European Union's post-Brexit trade deal with the United Kingdom, a decision welcomed by British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who called it the final step in a long journey. The vote ratifies the trade deal that was sealed on Christmas Eve after 9 months of bad-tempered negotiations and has been in force provisionally since January 1st. The deal provides the framework of Britain's new relationship with a 27-member union 5 years after British voters shocked the world by voting to end its 47-year membership of the bloc. The European Union lawmakers backed the Trade and Cooperation Agreement by 660 votes to 5, with 32 abstentions as announced by the Parliament this Wednesday. The move to initiate legal proceedings marked the latest flashpoint in a series of disagreements between London and Brussels since the Brexit transition period ended on January 1st. The two sides have argued so far this year over issues ranging from COVID-19 vaccine supplies to the full diplomatic recognition of the European Union in the United Kingdom and fishing rights.
That foreign news story is what brings us to the cut line for today's edition of the news here on DBS Television. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Have a great night.
For this midweek edition of Press Review, Wednesday, April 28th, 2021, we begin with the Guardian Post newspaper with the societal news, where irate Christians seal a church and chase the pastor, accusing him of stealing church money. This, the paper says, took place at EEC Polar Congregation in Kongsamba, Mongo Division of the Littoral